Welcome to the Big Four Accounting Firms podcast, brought to you by big4accountingfirms.com and the Big Four Accounting Firms YouTube channel. Before we get started, just wanted to remind everybody to support us if you have a chance or if you can. Even $1 helps, and we have a link in the description to a website called Buy Me a Coffee. It's just a way to donate to us and support us. Again, any amount is helpful so that we can keep putting out content. And there's also other ways for you to support us in the show notes to this podcast or on YouTube in the description. In today's episode, I wanted to talk about what an ideal or optimal career path looks like. This is because I received a YouTube comment about this, and they wanted to understand what an ideal career looks like, assuming you get an internship offer and an undergraduate offer. Ideally, I think it depends on what office you're in. And I know saying that it depends isn't very good, but typically you should be moving up every 2 years. But depending on your location, it might be different. It might be slower. For some people, it might be faster, depending on if you have a big client. Because a lot of people that are the exception to the rule are in a big city and on a big client. Like I've seen a guy that made partner in 10 years, and that was just because he was on a big client in a big city, and they just really needed an administrative partner, and he was more administrative. He handled a lot of the billing and stuff on a large account. But ideally, you would move up every 2 years. So you'd be an associate or whatever the name is in your country or city, associate, senior associate, manager, senior manager, and then partner. So it should take you about 12 to 15 years to make partner. Probably the average is around 14 or 15. If you're going to make partner, you should know by about 8 or 9 years in whether or not you're going to make partner. Because if you spent 6 years at the Big Four, you would have made manager. And then another couple of years, you should be at senior manager, director, or managing director. But that's why the Big Four accounting firms have all these positions now. They have 6 or 7 positions because they want you jumping through as many hoops as possible before you become a partner, just so they can keep you around. Plus, you're hitting goals. If you get a promotion and a raise and a bonus for each promotion, then you get pretty amped up and you want to stick around because you're getting a high off of getting promotions. So now they have 6 or 7 designations in these places before you make partner. And then once you become partner, you have all these other designations that you can get: senior partner, leader of a group, leader of a city, leader of a region. But ideally, you'd be moving up every 2 to 3 years, getting a promotion. And some people might say this doesn't matter, and it might not matter to you, but as far as an ideal career, that's what you should be moving 2 to 3 years. But if it's not going that way, don't kill yourself over it. Figuratively, of course. Don't kill yourself literally either. But you should not be straining yourself. You can leave to industry and come back, leave to a mid-sized firm and come back. Again, like I said yesterday, you're having 30-year, 40-year, 50-year careers. The only reason you're going to be in a rush in the Big Four accounting firms is because they want you to be in a rush. They want you to make as much money for them as possible. And they want you to make as much money for them because the partners are greedy. But also there's tons of retired partners living off of you making money for these firms. So they're invested in you as making as much money as possible. But if you're looking out for yourself, which you should be, you should take your time, plan your career out, plan your life out the way you want to live it, not the way the Big Four accounting firms want to live it. Because if you plan your life out the way the Big Four accounting firms want you to live it, you're not going to have any time for yourself. And a lot of people live that way. It takes some 10, 20 years to wake up out of it. But that's the problem. If you don't make partner, you could be 14 years, 15 years into this and realize you wasted 14 or 15 years of your life chasing a goal that wasn't worth it. But ideally, the Big Four accounting firms want you moving up every 2 or 3 years if you're going to become partner. But even if you don't make partner in 15 years, if you stick around, there's still a chance that you will make it, because a lot of making partner in the big four accounting firms is sticking around and who's left and who's able to meet the revenue goals. But I've seen some of the worst employees of the big four accounting firms make partner just because they were around for 15 to 20 years and they did exactly what the partners wanted them to do. It's not what the clients wanted to do either. It's what the partners wanted to do. And that guy that I spoke about that made partner in 10 years, he didn't do what the clients wanted him to do. He did what the partners told him to do. And that's what he focused on. He focused on politics with partners. They needed an administrative partner because partners don't want to do billing. They don't want to do sales. They don't want to track sales. They don't want to track meetings in Salesforce. They want somebody else to do that. And if it's a large enough account, $10+ million account, then you're willing to make a partner off of that and give them some other small clients to justify it. So that's the ideal career. And the way you map that out is by making sure you're in the right groups and under the right people. Sometimes it's easy to get stuck in these groups where people tell you you're not doing good enough. People tell you there's not enough opportunity, and you can wait 4 years for a promotion in those groups. But those are the groups you don't want to be in, because there's enough groups in the big four accounting firms that are growing rapidly and want to promote people that you need to move to those groups. Don't stick in these groups where everybody tells you things take a lot of time and you're just not ready for the next position. If you're stuck in that group, move on to another group or move on to another company. So that's my quick view of what an ideal career is in the big four accounting firms and how to set that up, and the timing and the way you orchestrate that and get your way around that. It's a little bit more nuanced because it depends on the personalities in your group and it depends on the clients and opportunities in your group. So that's the podcast for today. Make sure to subscribe to this podcast. Support us financially through the Buy Me a Coffee link in the show notes to this podcast if you can. And if you can't, subscribe to our YouTube channel and like this video on YouTube. Thanks for listening.